Chapter 2. The room was lit by a solitary desk lamp, which allowed the man seated behind the desk to lean back in his heavy executive chair and keep his face in shadow. It pleased him to do this, because he knew that those he spoke to from this vantage point were immediately disoriented and unable to gain control of the conversation. It was a carefully orchestrated setting. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, but heavy curtains had been drawn across the windows, keeping a sun-filled Florida morning at bay. The man leaned forward, bringing his sharp features into the light. "It seems you were unable to carry out a very simple, very straightforward task." His voice was low and steady, and his eyes made no attempt to hide his displeasure. "Would you say that assessment is accurate, Edward?" he asked with contempt as he began receding into the shadows. "There were unanticipated problems," Edward Tyrell said. "And the man you sent didn't react well to—" "The man I sent? So this regrettable situation is my fault? Is that what you're telling me?" "No, of course not. It's just what? Just like the excuses you make when the investments we allow you to choose for us fail to earn the income you project?" Tyrell started to speak, but the man raised a hand that demanded silence. "This is more than a small financial failing, Edward. This could easily prove to be a disaster." He waved his hand, dismissing everything that had been said, and then leaned forward again, bringing himself into the small cone of light. "Tell me, Edward, what did you believe your task to be? What was it you were supposed to do for us?" "The girl was supposed to be brought to my yacht and then taken out past the 12-mile limit, where we were to rendezvous with the church's cruise ship, Freewinds." "And what did you think would happen to her once she was aboard Freewinds?" Tyrell twisted nervously. "I had no idea. It wasn't something I was told." "Well, let me tell you then." The man inhaled and continued. "It had been determined that the girl was 1-1. We had ordered a disconnection, but her family was still reaching out for her. They had even gotten a retired police sergeant to search for her. Their intent was obvious, so we decided auditing was the best solution for the young woman, and we wanted that auditing to be done somewhere where she could not be located until it was finished. Ergo, Freewinds." He stared into Tyrell's face. "Auditing, Edward, not elimination. And we certainly never envisioned the elimination of the retired police sergeant who was trying to find her." Edward quickly translated what he had been told. The girl was 1-1, a very dangerous and wicked level of spirituality for Scientology members, someone who perhaps engaged in casual sex, or even homosexual activity, or who had openly expressed opposition to church teachings. In this case, the young woman had been ordered to separate from her family, i.e., disconnection, and was going to undergo auditing, or extensive spiritual counseling, aboard Freewinds, which was one of several seagoing vessels owned by the church. "I didn't know any of that," Tyrell said. "Your man had just gotten her on board. She noticed the engines were running and asked why. When I told her we were going out on a short cruise, she got nervous. Your man tried to calm her by explaining that we were going to rendezvous with a church-owned ship, but it had the opposite effect. She panicked and jumped back onto the dock. Your man was on her before she got very far, and the next thing I knew, he was throwing her body into the water. Then he heard something and ran around the side of the vessel in the next slip, and I saw what the problem was. A man was jogging down the dock, and even worse, he had a pistol in his hand. He ran to the place where the girl had gone into the water and knelt down to see if he could find her. That's when your man came out from the vessel he had hidden behind and shot him twice. Before I knew what had happened, 2 people appeared to be dead, and the man you had sent was heading down the dock." "And that's when you discovered the retired police officer was still alive and pulled him out of the water?" "I had to. When I went to